The first thing I felt wasn't anger. It was calm. "You're outdated. We're done here," the CEO hissed across the glass table, his breath smelling like confidence borrowed from other men's work. I nodded once. Understood. That was the moment the retirement trust activated its voting rights. By Monday morning, the board convened an emergency meeting. The question on everyone's lips wasn't why, it was how. Who just fired the person who owns 76% of the shares? I didn't smile. I never do when the knife finally goes in. My brother taught me how to steal before he taught me how to love. When we were kids, he'd take my toys and convince me I'd lost them. When we grew older, the toys became people, specifically women. Every girl I ever let close, every name I said out loud with something soft in my voice. He never forced them. He didn't have to. He waited. He listened. Then he slid in wearing my stories like tailored suits. I told myself it was coincidence. I wanted it to be. Blood has gravity. You don't question it until it starts pulling everything you care about into a black hole. He'd laugh it off. "Relax," he'd say. "You're too intense. They like me because I'm fun." Fun. That's what they called betrayal when it smiled. The last one hurt enough to sharpen me. I didn't catch them in bed. That would have been easier. I caught patterns. Late replies. His car outside places he had no reason to be. Her laugh changing when his name came up. The final confirmation came quietly. A forwarded email. No subject, no apology, just logistics. That's when the pain stopped being loud. That's when it became useful. Revenge doesn't begin with anger. It begins with paperwork. While my brother was busy enjoying the aftermath of my trust, I was assembling his future, slowly, methodically. I hired forensic accountants who didn't ask questions, only rates. I reviewed contracts I'd signed years ago when I still believed loyalty meant something. I restructured ownership through entities he didn't know existed. He thought I was the older brother who stayed behind the scenes, the steady one, the boring one. People confuse silence with weakness. It makes them careless. I also hired someone else, a woman my brother had crossed once before. Fired, humiliated, buried in NDAs and legal threats. She was brilliant, and she hated him with focus. I didn't tell her I wanted revenge. I told her I wanted accuracy. The execution wasn't dramatic. It never is. First, his funding froze. Not cut, just paused, long enough to make lenders nervous. Then his side deals surfaced. Not leaked, verified. Regulators don't respond to rumors, they respond to evidence. By the time he realized something was wrong, his name was being said in rooms he wasn't invited into anymore. He called me that night. "Did you do this?" he asked, trying to sound amused. I pictured every girl he ever took from me, every moment he made me feel replaceable. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said, honestly. Because by then, it wasn't about him anymore. The confrontation happened in a boardroom, just like I'd planned. He walked in late, still confident, still smiling like the world owed him forgiveness. The CEO cleared his throat. "We need to discuss a change in leadership." My brother laughed. Then he saw the numbers on the screen. Ownership breakdown, voting power, signatures he recognized, ones he'd ignored. He looked at me then, really looked. "You," he whispered. I met his eyes, calm, controlled, surgical. "You taught me," I said. "I just paid attention." The vote passed unanimously. His empire didn't explode, it collapsed inward, quietly, legally, permanently. Afterward, there were apologies, from women, from family, from people who swore they had no idea. I accepted none of them. Closure isn't forgiveness, it's distance. I didn't destroy my brother because he stole women from me. I destroyed him because he mistook my patience for permission. Because he believed I'd always stay the older brother who cleaned up after him. Because he never imagined I'd stop loving him before I stopped watching him. Now, when I walk into rooms, people stand without knowing why. I don't talk about revenge, I talk about alignment, about ownership, about consequences. My brother still calls sometimes. I let it ring. Some people deserve answers, others deserve silence sharp enough to remember you by. And me? I finally understand this. The most dangerous man in the room is the one who never raises his voice, because he already owns the ending.